What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 3. So let's get started with Julio and Kirsten. So Julio reveals to Kirsten that he told his mom about their relationship only 3 weeks prior to her arriving in New York. They've been dating for an entire year, and he doesn't tell his mom about Kirsten until 3 weeks before she actually arrives in New York. So Kirsten asked him, "What did you tell your mom when you came to visit me in Amsterdam?" And he said that he told his mom that he was traveling for work. So he lied to the two most important women in his life. He lies to his mother about having a serious relationship with Kirsten and who Kirsten is. And he lies to Kirsten, making her believe that his mom has always known about their relationship and how serious it was and how long they've been dating. So he's a pathological liar. He's pathological because he doesn't need to lie. These women love him enough to accept the truth and to be able to deal with the truth. Why do you have to lie, especially when you're going to be telling them the truth anyway at some point? So why even bother lying? So Julio feels like crap because he sees how hurt Kirsten is once she finds out that she's been his dirty little secret this whole entire time to his mom. And he feels bad about that. He tells her that he didn't tell his mom because he really wasn't sure about where the relationship was going. Well, this makes her feel even worse because she says from day one, she had always known that he was the one, and that she had always told her parents from day one that this was her boyfriend. They knew who he was, and they knew how serious the relationship was. So she's always been open with her parents, but he, on the other hand, not quite so much. So he told his mom that he was going to be moving, but he didn't tell her when. And he also didn't tell his mother that he had applied for a residency to live in the Netherlands. So all of this information he's hiding from his mother, and he's going to drop all of this info on her over dinner when this is the first time she's going to be meeting Kirsten. So this makes Kirsten feel like he may not even follow through with the move if he hasn't even told his mom, how imminent the move is and the whole residency application. So she feels like maybe he's not even serious about moving to the Netherlands with me. So Julio says that the reason why he didn't tell his mom was because he didn't want to hurt her. If you're going to hurt her anyway, just tell her the truth from the beginning, because now you look like Boo Boo the Fool to everybody, lying to your mother, hiding information from your mother, misleading your girlfriend about what's really going on with you and your mom. And you're just looking like an all around creepy, not so great boyfriend and not so great son. Just always be open and honest with everybody, because then you don't feel stupid once you tell them the truth, and they don't feel stupid for believing your lies for so long. So they're on their way to meet Julio's mom. Kirsten wants Julio to kind of make her feel a little bit, because she's so nervous, right? She's so nervous as they're driving to his mother's house. And so she wants Julio to make her feel more comfortable, make her feel more at ease. And of course he doesn't, because he's very self-centered. He only thinks about what's best for Julio, and he could care less about how anybody else feels. So they finally arrive at the mother's house. It's a very awkward greeting from the beginning. He introduces her to his mother, introduces her to his two brothers. Julio tells his mom that he's going to be leaving in 3 months, and he has already applied for a visa to go live in the Netherlands. And of course, when he tells his mother this, she is shocked. And it takes her like a minute to kind of gather herself, and you can tell how much this news has affected her, right? Because the whole thing about, her and her son being together, just the two of them for so long before she had the two additional boys, and how close they are, and how this is going to turn their worlds upside down. Her oldest son leaving to go live somewhere else permanently, and he's dropped all this information on her all at once. So of course she gets emotional, she starts crying, and Kirsten is looking at the mother like, she feels horrible, because it's sort of like she's a part of all of these shenanigans. And not only does Julio look bad, but he's also making his girlfriend look bad, because his mom would probably think that either Kirsten put him up to this, or that Kirsten was a part of this in some way, where she was just as much in the dark as the mother was. So the worst thing that she expected happened, where the mother completely broke down, got emotional, started crying. And Kirsten, this is your boyfriend, probably soon to be husband. He's a liar. He's a pathological liar. He lies when it's convenient. He lies to make himself look better in front of people. He lies when it's so absolutely unnecessary. Brandon and Mary. So Mary is still mad that Brandon sat next to a female human on the plane. She still can't get over that. And she says that she can't trust her. She has issues with trust because her ex-boyfriend had cheated on her 10 times and she had forgiven him 10 times. And that's why she's so untrustworthy of Brandon and thinks that he's always cheating on her and insecure and all of that. I think it's a whole lot deeper than that. It's a whole lot deeper than that. I can understand, look, the girl just doesn't know any better. And unfortunately, there's nobody there to guide her. So it's the day of his arrival. And before he arrives to her little town, because once he arrives in the Philippines, he stayed in a hotel in Manila. And then I think he's going to take a plane or something to her town. I don't know. But we see Mary in the morning with her grandparents having coffee. And of course, Brandon is on the phone. He's on FaceTime and he's, fast asleep in his hotel. So the grandparents are giving her advice about her relationship with Brandon, letting her know that she has to be a very respectful girl, and that Brandon also has to respect her and respect the grandparents as well. And so in their culture, when you're dating or when you're courting, there's no kissing, no hugging, no holding hands, none of that until your parents or your grandparents or whoever's your guardian gives specific permission, allowing those types of expressions of, PDA, or just expressions of love or whatever. So the grandparents tell her that there's to be no sex and that Brandon must ask for permission to hold hands, hug, or kiss. The grandparents tell her that she has to tell Brandon that he has to ask permission to be able to just hold her hand or just to give her a kiss. She says that she's not going to do that. She says that she wants things to happen naturally between her and Brandon. And she probably is, I'm not going to go as far as to say she's ashamed of her culture, but she probably thinks that this American boy is not going to abide by that or is not going to understand that, because things are so different in America. So she probably is like, yeah, I'm not going to tell my American boyfriend that he has to ask my grandfather permission just to give me a hug. So I'm pretty sure that's the main reason why she doesn't want to tell Brandon, not so much because she wants things to happen naturally between them. So because this is when they do finally are able to kiss, it's going to be her first kiss. And because this is going to be her first kiss, she wants Brandon to be her man forever and ever and ever, because if she's going to give him, her first kiss, then he needs to be with her for the rest of his life. So I'm just like, this is like disaster city. So she goes on to even say in her confessional that she cannot imagine her life without Brandon. Mary is a very scary person because she has this very unrealistic expectations of what a relationship should be like, and she's completely unprepared for how a relationship actually is. And because of her issues with being abandoned by her parents and her insecurity issues because her ex-boyfriend cheated, this girl has a lot of emotional, psychological issues, and there's just nobody there to guide her. There's nobody that knows any better. Nobody around her knows any better on how to deal with her, to help her out, because all of these insecurities and all of these issues that she has, they're only going to end up hurting her at the end. So Brandon finally arrives. She's at the airport with her brother. By the way, her brother, the same rules apply to him, when he was dating. Don't no hugging, no kissing, no this, no that, but he completely disobeyed the rules. He ended up getting his girlfriend pregnant, and because of that, because he, had children out of wedlock and had sex out of wedlock, the grandfather quit talking to him for an entire year. So on their way to the airport, he tells Mary, his sister, that you need to follow what our grandparents, the rules of our grandparents, the rules of our cultures. You have to respect our ancestors and, follow the tradition and not do any of that stuff with Brandon. And so, Mary don't give a damn. So they're at the airport. He arrives. He gives her a great big hug. They kiss and kiss and kiss forever. And the brother's in the background watching all of this. I think the brother was even recording it on his phone. So the brother's in the background watching all of this. And so when they finally meet and they kiss and they hug and they do all of this, Brandon tells her that she's so much prettier in person. And you can tell that the brother felt really uncomfortable with all the affection that they were showing each other. So on the ride to the house, they're sitting in the back. The brother's sitting on the passenger seat, and Mary and Brandon are getting it on. You know, they're making out practically in the back seat. They can't stop kissing and they can't keep their hands off each other. So the brother tells Brandon that kissing is not permissible without consent from the grandparents. And Brandon was like, "Excuse me, what? What did you say?" And so, yeah, it was like he didn't comprehend that. No, that took him by surprise. He was like completely blindsided by that. So when they get to the grandparents' home, he greets the grandparents, very respectful. And I think the grandparents asked, the grandfather was like, "So when you saw Mary, like, you know, exactly what did y'all do? What did y'all do?" And that's where their little segment ends. So, Mary is hoping and praying that Brandon is not going to tell the grandfather exactly what happened when they greeted each other at the airport. Yeah, this whole situation is a hot mess. I don't anticipate Brandon staying in the Philippines for too long. I anticipate him actually leaving. I don't know what he's going to do when you have a girlfriend who's on the edge of sanity, and you know, at the drop of a dime, she can turn into, you know, she can turn psychotic on you. I don't know what Brandon's going to do because he's out there all by himself. And I don't know if I don't think he understands exactly how emotionally and psychologically fragile Mary is. So he better tread extremely lightly. He might as well just go ahead and marry the girl. Forget about your life in America. Forget about ever talking to your mom or your siblings ever again in life, and just start this new life in the Philippines, in this village with Mary. Moving on, Kimberly and TJ. So Kimberly, she's on her way to India, and she's very stressed out about the wedding, and she's also stressed out about the apartment. So you would think that someone who is a clairvoyant, you know, that maybe she has a sense of what's to come. I'm pretty sure maybe that's why she's so nervous, because she does see the future and it's not looking too good. And you would think that she would have a way to kind of calm herself down, but no, she is freaking out. So she still has her nerves are still really bad, you know, thinking about leaving her life in America and starting this new life in India. So she finally arrives in India, and when she greets TJ, they don't really do a lot of hugging and kissing, because in that culture, you just don't do all of that PDA. So they gave each other a hug. He gave her some flowers. They were really happy to see each other. TJ was extremely happy to see her. You can just tell from his face and how he was acting that he really, really was happy to see her there. So they go to his house. She greets his family, and I thought it was so funny how though when she greeted his father, the father patted her on the top of the head, and then she patted him on the top of the head. I don't know if that's tradition or she was just trying to be cute. I thought it was really funny. So they sit down in the living room. She offers gifts to everybody. And it was well appreciated. Okay, so fine. The family and their reunion, it was fine. So she really wants to see the apartment that TJ had built for her, which is above the family home. So they go upstairs, and everything about the apartment she absolutely hates. She is every little detail she is scrutinizing, she's critiquing it from top to bottom, wall to wall. And her concerns were legitimate. For example, the toilet was in direct view of the window, and the window had no curtain, and it had no window pane or glass in it at all. So anybody on the outside could definitely see her sitting on the toilet. So she has like no privacy, because there was no door, I guess, to the toilet room. The bathroom sink wasn't even in the bathroom, it was on the outside. The doorways were not even. So some doorways were higher or shorter than others. So the baseboards were not complete. So it was a fiasco. So she tells him, "I don't like this. I don't like this. What the hell is this? We talked about that, but that's not what I wanted." And he's like, "Are you crazy? Are you crazy? At least you have an apartment. You don't understand what I went through to build this apartment for you. It's not like, how it is in America, or you hire these experienced, licensed contractors. I'm just gathering up some country people to come and build this apartment, and I throw some money at them and they do the best they can, and you should be appreciative. And so they're arguing about that. He's upset that she doesn't appreciate the fact that, first of all, you were supposed to be living downstairs in the home with me and my family, but you were so against that. I built you an apartment. I did the best I could in the amount of time that I had. He had to take out a 7-year loan to get the materials and stuff for this apartment. So I've been through. You're here nitpicking every little thing. You don't even appreciate the bigger picture. And she's like, I cannot live here. There's no way I can live here. And he tells her, well, we can fix it. And she's like, well, that's just spending more money to fix it. And he says, but it's my money. So what are you worried about? Why do you care? It's my money that I'm spending. So then she's like calling him all kinds of names. She's calling him a DICK head. And he's like, excuse me? Watch your words, mind your words. So it's like a really bad start. Now, in my personal opinion, okay, you can look, what she should have done is, yes, make a mental note of all the things that you don't like and that you want fixed. But initially, especially once because you just arrived and this is your very first day there, initially show some gratitude and appreciation that he got you what you wanted, because, privacy was so important to her. Living with his family was not an option. So at least he built her something where she could kind of feel like it was her own little place. Of course, there's a lot of problems with the place. Of course. So as time goes on, very sweetly, start telling him the things that you don't like or the things that you want fixed or changed. And, just be direct, but still show that you do appreciate what he did. And I think the only thing he wanted was for her to show a little bit of appreciation. That's all he wanted from her. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of issues here, but at least show some appreciation for what I did for you. Normally stuff like this doesn't happen here, but because you're so insistent on not living with my family, I'm not even going to take offense to that. I still built you a damn apartment. So a little bit of appreciation. That's all he wanted. Just a little bit of gratitude, where she felt, it seemed like for her, it was just impossible for her to do. So, that ended on a really bad note. I mean, they're screaming and yelling at each other. I wonder if the family could hear downstairs, screaming. By the way, TJ and his brother, are they twins? Because they look so much alike. I thought they were twins. Moving on to Wayne and Holly. So Wayne and Holly's mom, they finally arrive at Wayne's house. Now, the biggest issue here is that the neighborhood that Wayne lives in, there's a lot of break-ins. And the last time that Holly was in South Africa and she was staying with him, there was a break-in. So safety is like Holly and her mom's number one concern. So he gives them a tour of the house. And first of all, Wayne and Holly, they're going to be sleeping in separate rooms. I think they're Jehovah's Witnesses. There's some type of religion where they can't sleep in the same room or the same bed until they're married. So they're going to be sleeping in separate rooms. So then he explains to them about this thing called load shedding. Load shedding is when the power will go out periodically, and it's to conserve the power coming from the grid. So in order to not overwhelm the grid where it completely shuts down, the power has to go on and off periodically throughout the whole city. But when the power goes off, this is when the break-ins increase. So he has basically rigged his whole house to protect them from break-ins. One of the things that he's done is in the garage, if anybody breaks in, there's this like pipe that goes across the top of the garage door. So as soon as anybody breaks in or whatever, they get a shot or spray of pepper spray. So he's done all of this stuff, right, to try to make Holly feel safer. And as he's showing them around the property outside, they walk past an area that was very triggering for Holly because it reminded her of the dog that Wayne used to have that was killed by the burglars. So she starts crying over that, and Holly's mom is not convinced that all the precautions that Wayne took is enough. And so the next morning when they wake up, they're talking about the whole safety issue. And Holly and her mom suggest, what if they moved to a gated community? And I think Wayne had said it really doesn't make any difference if we live in a gated community. The issues of break-ins are still going to be the same. Oh, no, that wasn't the thing. His issue was, and he didn't tell them this, his issue was he can't afford it. He's like, I don't think I can afford a brand new house. So yeah, this is what it's going to be for a while. I don't know what to say because I know this is a real thing for Holly. This is a real fear that she has. I know her mom is terribly concerned. I don't know. I mean, what's the solution? He says he can't afford to buy a new house. He's done the best that he could to protect this house. So you just have to hope and pray that nothing happens. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Holly. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.